Corey and Noah, as real estate agents, the number one thing I see on social media right now is that joke where somebody says, "Oh, their friend or their neighbor says, 'Hey, we're buying a house. Sorry, we didn't use you,' and then they say, 'That's okay. You should go buy a new car before closing.'" So right away, I know what that does because I've had that personally happen to me, where I've had people go do that and mess up their house. What why is it important, guys, that we avoid major purchases before the pre-approval or once you're pre-approved before we buy the house? What are some stories that you guys have seen and heard about, or things that make you go,
Well, I get concerned, with people that take their credit card and they want to go buy some new furniture for their new house, and screws up their debt to income ratio. I think they were still able to close on the house, but it was definitely a scary moment there.
Corey, have you had any scary stories with this particular situation?
Yeah, I think we've had some issues in the past where motorcycles, UTVs, boats, things like that, that are only a few $100 a month payments, sometimes more, but when they're all added up, it can certainly decrease the amount of payment that you can afford each month, and therefore decrease your purchasing power on a home. So
right. When we do a pre-approval, Corey. When we do a pre-approval, it's based upon numbers, right? And we may not tell a borrower, "Hey, you're really," well, we actually do. Kim and I do. We say, "You're really close on your debt to income ratio. It's like your max pre-approval at this interest rate is 250." Or we could say, "You have plenty of room. There's nothing to worry about." But if I could give any advice, check with a lender. But and Noah kind of touched on this, guys. But let's go get that wash machine. Let's go get that new oven. Let's go get that new refrigerator before. And I'm any lenders can say, "Why don't you just wait till closing before you do any of that stuff, or at least check with your lender before you do that." And you would keep living the way you have been until after closing, because it could affect your house, and it could affect your approval. And even though you had a pre-approval, if something changed in there, that's why we, as a lender, we will call your employer 2 days before closing to make sure you still work there. I mean, we're going to make sure that we're protecting our investment as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've heard horror stories of people that just got a new job after getting pre-approved again and accepted offer. Well, that really screws everything up right there. So, because then you don't have the history of the employment. There's a lot that goes into that.
Yep, there's a lot of buying a house is the biggest thing you're ever going to do. So we just want to make sure we're good to go on it. So just check with your lender, check with your agent. And if your agent doesn't know, they'll say check with your lender. And that's what they should say anyway. So perfect.